I try hard to not make fun of other people's takes and opinions because we all have a lot of them.
It's
We
true.
all have some bad ones. I'm going to make an exception.
It's that football show here on KC Sports Network. Tucker Franklin hanging out with Matt Verderame. Thank you to our sponsors, Ben Holiday, Bottled in Bond, Bourbon, and Holiday Distillery, as we are talking NFL and Chiefs football here. And who knows what else is going to happen because it is April the 11th when we're recording this, April the 12th when you are listening to it. Matt, how have you been?
I've been good. No complaints. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good to see. I think it's the official start of spring now. As I look over to my left and I have the Masters on the TV, and I think that is actually the official start of spring. I don't care what the calendar says. I don't care what the equinoxes or the moon's doing. I think the Masters starting means that it's officially spring.
That's fair. It's a pretty good leaderboard. You got Rose, DeChambeau, you got McIlroy up there.
Oh yeah,
Scheffler's in contention. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You got a lot going on. So tough to really complain.
Yeah, it is. It is tough to complain. I think it's going to be a good weekend, shaping up to be a good weekend in golf. Look, I know we had some reception to our hockey podcast talk in the middle of last week's episode. People liked it. We got some later mixed results, but I will say there are some times that you create and craft an idea for a show, and we go to hop on here, Matt, and something happens. I think this was like literally moments. I saw it literally moments before we hopped on to record, where there's a tweet that just kind of derails the whole plans that you plan out for a show. And you're like, well, you know what? We should probably spend a lot of time on this. And that thing happened on Friday afternoon as the Herd with Colin Cowherd at the Herd tweeted out a 4-minute and 44-second long clip. That's another gripe that I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. What happened to just tweeting out clips, right? Twitter going to the extended character limit, to the extended clip length. Keep it to 220. I don't want to watch anything longer than a minute, really. So 220 is pushing it. Keep it to 220. Let's keep it moving. Anyway, that's one of the disruptions I have with this tweet. The tweet itself reads, quote, I don't think that the Kansas City Chiefs are a playoff team next year. Eyes wide emoji. And it tags a guy that I think Chiefs fans are pretty familiar with. And I think they're pretty familiar with his work and his rhetoric towards the Kansas City Chiefs. And seeing this person tagged also does not surprise me at all. At Jason McIntyre. That is who is tagged in this tweet. He apparently is sitting in for Colin Cowherd today, as Colin Cowherd is probably saying, hey, let's not have me do a radio talk show right now as it is the middle of April and there's nothing going on. Please let somebody else in here. And Jason McIntyre goes and says the Chiefs are not a playoff team. Matt, thoughts?
I try hard to not make fun of other people's takes and opinions because we all have a lot of them.
It's true.
We all have some bad ones. I'm going to make an exception. It's one of two things. And I feel like this would apply to a lot of what Jason McIntyre says. He either doesn't believe it and just wants a little attention out of it, or he does believe it and doesn't understand the sport that he covers. And I don't know which one of those two things this one falls under. But, look, man. Mahomes has been the quarterback for that team as a starter for 7 years. They've gone to 7 straight AFC title games. That division, it would take a lot of injuries, or in my opinion, a borderline miracle for them not to win the division. The Raiders are not good. Denver and the Chargers are fine. I think Denver's better than the Chargers, but fine.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the schedule they're playing next year. You get the Raiders twice, the entire AFC South, the Giants, the Cowboys. If they win those games, that's 8. He's gonna lose every other game. He's not gonna be able to handle Denver or the Chargers. Like all kidding aside, if they split with Denver, split with the Chargers, and win those other games, that's 10. They're in. Not making the playoffs. They're also not gonna win any of these other games. Like what, Washington's gonna come in, just dog walk them at Arrowhead. Like what's gonna happen?
Right.
I mean, it's just that's the kind of stuff to me that I really get annoyed with because it is the reason people sit there and go, sports media sucks. Sports
Yeah.
media sucks. It's stupid. And you know what? Yeah, because stuff like that's stupid. Like it just is. I don't know. Look, maybe in the chair I'm sitting in, I shouldn't say that, being somebody who's got my own opinions, and God knows I've been proven wrong, but like I have no problem having an opinion that's wrong as long as it's rooted in something that makes sense.
Right.
Your opinion makes no sense and it's rooted in nothing. Like
Yeah.
and also like the person is coming from also has a history of being like awful announcing because you're like, oh yeah, I forgot this guy retired 5 years ago. I've got like, look, man, if you're gonna say something like that, you better have a lot of equity built up behind it.
Yeah.
If Peter Schrager says it, fine. Like I disagree with him completely, fine. Pete's got it right. If Louis Riddick says it, cool, man. You know what? Like I totally disagree with him, but you know who's not saying it? Peter Schrager and Louis Riddick. You know why? Because they're not going to say something that asinine. Like, it's a terrible look. But again, we live in this
Yeah.
culture of like, hey, just say whatever because you'll get a reaction out of it. And I wish more people were held to account for some of this stuff. I'm not saying like can the guy or anything, but like if I was in charge of that show and somebody said something like that, I'd be, hey, look, man, I don't mind you having a provocative opinion, but you better be able to back it up to some degree here. Like, give me a real reason. It's not like, oh, because I had a feeling or I had a dream about it. Like,
Right.
a real reason. If you don't have that, don't say it because I don't want to just be a show that's known for people saying wild stuff. I don't want to be Acho, okay, and like on Speak, just rambling on about some insanity. Like, what? Oh God, there was something. Oh, when the Cowboys traded for Joe Milton, LaShawn McCoy was like, "Well, I hope Dak's got his bags packed." Like, what? Like, what world are you in? But it's just there's no pushback because the executives will sit there and go, "Oh, hey, a lot of clicks, in the story, or a lot of views on Twitter, a lot of impressions. That's a good thing. We can get an advertisement on that, and it's not a good thing. It's a terrible thing for sports media and for people who want to enjoy sports with half a brain."
I think that's probably a bigger overall conversation in terms of the direction of where sports media is going. But Jason McIntyre, as you mentioned, does have a track record of just hating on the Chiefs for no reason, of just like wanting to be basically, I think him and like there's other guys out here too. Joe Carton, right? Is that his name?
No, Craig Carton.
Craig Carton. And
don't even get me started. I'll get myself fired.
We don't have to go down that road, but I'm just saying, like, both of those guys, Fox Sports guys, coincidentally.
Let me just say, you want to really go down a rabbit hole one day? Read about Craig Carton. Go ahead.
His Wikipedia page is a trip.
That
is all you need to know. Both of those guys seem like they want to be first on the Chiefs' downfall. And look, this isn't something that is exclusive to like the Chiefs. It's not something that's exclusive to football even. Like, it happened with the Patriots. It happens with LeBron every day, where people are always wanting to be the first to their downfall. Somebody wants to be first to predicting the downfall of something that has been dominant. And this is not the first time any of these guys have done this. I think a lot of people in the comment section of that Herd tweet did a really good job of pointing out, like, hey, you know that Patrick Mahomes like hasn't like not been to an AFC Championship game. Like, that's the bare minimum that Patrick Mahomes has gone to. And you're saying he's making the playoffs? Like, hey, let's have a little bit of logic here. And yeah, it would tell you that there would be maybe there could be a little bit of time catching up with Patrick Mahomes. Sure, as he gets older, sure, whatever. He also goes on and says that like the Chiefs didn't get better, which I don't know if holistically that's true. I think their defense as a whole got better because of the way that they can move McDuffie around with the Christian Fulton signing. We haven't even had a draft class yet, so it's not even fair to say if this team got better or worse yet at this point in April 11th, when Jason McIntyre is making these comments. But look, again, Matt, it goes back to what you mentioned. Chiefs fans are going to defend their team. Like, that is one thing about Chiefs fans is like, if you mention the Chiefs and it is just like categorically false or if it is against them, they will stand up for their team and they will pick up the swords, they'll take up the pitchforks and torches, and they will let you know. And I think all these networks know that. And I think all of these guys who go out and do these takes say, kind of a little bit of a slow month. April's kind of slow. Let's oh man, what can we do to stir up some engagement? Oh, let's talk about the Chiefs. And if you say something that is mildly incorrect about the Chiefs fans will let you know, and they'll give you the engagement, and they'll give you that number bump that you really do need. And I think networks know that, and I think that these people know that. They're like, oh, if we rile up Chiefs Kingdom, we'll be sitting pretty. Oh, we'll get those numbers bumps.
I just cannot understand being in the industry. Like, I know there are certain things I could write that would just enrage people.
Yeah,
Like, I know I could do it. But I'll tell you right now, like, first of all, my editors would be like, "You're not doing that."
yeah,
Secondly, let's say they did. Let's say they're like, "All right, Matt, go nuts. Write the most salacious thing you could think of." Great, I could do that, and then my credibility's shot.
right.
Like, I will never get my credibility back. And I get it. I live in a medium that is different than the radio medium, but it's still the same thing. I mean, it's still you're putting your word out there. And like again, if your take is like, hey, I don't think the Chiefs are going to get back to the AFC title game, fine.
Yeah,
Okay. That's cool. Whatever.
you're
You know,
wrong, but yeah,
right. You're probably going to be wrong. History says you're probably wrong. But like, fine. Like, all right, cool. You want Baltimore and Buffalo. Great. Okay.
Mhm.
But like to just sit there and think, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Well, why? I don't know. Yeah, still don't think so. Like, what are you talking about? And look, part of this is to granted, like you just said, it's the middle of April, and maybe we wouldn't even have talked about this if it wasn't the middle of April. So,
Probably
and it's
not.
fair, right? But like, so in that way, thanks, Jay. But
Right.
I don't understand these. And quite honestly, though, and there's a much bigger conversation to be had about this. And Brett Coleman actually was tweeting about sports media because Awful Announcing put out a story, and then Lindsay
Yep.
Rose was talking about it, and I think their comments were very interesting. Like I just think as a media conglomerate, if you will, a broad umbrella of it all, we owe it to people who watch and read or listen to the content that we all put out there. Like, be better.
Yeah.
Make somebody,
Yeah.
like whenever you write something or create something, it should be to entertain somebody, to inform somebody, maybe educate somebody. Like it should not be, I'm a carnival barker and I'm going to fire out the dumbest opinion you've ever heard. The problem is people get rewarded for that. That's the problem.
Right.
Is people get rewarded for being dopes. And so you're just constantly given this opportunity to be a moron. And if I can be the loudest moron, I'm gonna make millions of dollars. Like
Mhm.
if I just up and decided tomorrow, like I'm gonna stop coming on here, I'm gonna get rid of my own pod, and I'm just gonna go on YouTube and just scream like a maniac for 30 minutes and give you the dumbest content you've ever heard. I guarantee you it would be successful.
Yeah.
Like I've often thought about like if I just really wanted to go out and try to make $500,000 a year, I think I could do it. I think I could go out and just be the dumbest person alive and then bring on the dumbest people alive and just scream as loud as I can. It'd be good. I mean, hell, look at all these accounts. Like look at like the the Dove Kleiman accounts and these JPA football and these accounts are insane.
Yeah.
And people
Yep.
just constantly interact with them. And you're like, you know what? We all got to do better in the sports media. You all have got to stop watching and engaging with this crap. Stop
Yeah.
doing it, and you'll stop having it.
Uh, Jarrett Bailey, a friend of ours, had tweeted and actually just quote tweeted this tweet and says, "God should strike us all dead." Actually, the Jason McIntyre tweet, and I think that's fine. Yeah, April 11th. There's no need to be talking about how the Chiefs are going to miss the playoffs and they're a worse team than what they were last year. Um, Look, they also went like 15-1 with their starters and had a really good season. Like, yeah, there might be a bit of a fall off there because they lost one game with their starters, and that's okay because they were 15-1. Um, But Matt, as you mentioned, their schedule is not necessarily the hardest one in the National Football League. Be interested to see how those all shape up in terms of, we did hear like the reports of the Chargers being week 1 in Brazil, Chiefs reportedly interested in Christmas, like how all of that all shapes up. And with Christmas being on a Thursday, I think it's a little bit easier of a pill to swallow than like a Wednesday in the middle of the week. Nevertheless, I think it's good that a good phrase to like just carry with yourself is just, we all just need to be better. Whether if it's you all consuming sports media, having some media literacy, us creating the sports media content. I like to think that, like on this podcast, we do entertain and we educate and we inform all at the same time. Like I like to think that's what we do here, Matt.
I hope so. That's the
Yeah,
goal. And our show is ridiculous, but
yeah, it is.
it's just kind of the point. But see, like, here, I'll give you another one. Here's this is actually this. Well, we'll go in a different direction. This is more just I don't even know what's happening.
Okay, here
So,
we go.
Fantasy Football 360 put out a list. For some reason, it's 14 people long. The top 14 saddest downfalls of the 21st century. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole list because there's no need. Number 1 is Todd Gurley, which like, okay,
Fair. Okay.
I get it. Number 3 is Luke Kuechly, who I feel like I know he had concussions, but like he kind of just retired.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a downfall.
Sandwiched in between Gurley and Kuechly is Henry Ruggs.
Oh,
And I'm like, I gotta tell you,
I'm not sad for Henry Ruggs at all. I want that on the record.
no, like what?
Yeah.
Like saddest downfall is Henry Ruggs, and then like Darius Geis is 5th. I don't know.
Did he have an upswing? Did I miss the Darius Geis upswing?
I don't know. Plaxico Burris is 6th. We all know what happened with Plaxico. Andrew Luck is 7th. He just retired.
Yeah.
Like 9 is Titus Young. I give you 20. Do you know who Titus Young is?
No clue.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
Receiver for the Lions. Absolutely no idea what's happening.
Nope.
11, Dorial Green Beckham.
To be fair, as a Mizzou fan, that was a very sad downfall.
Boy, he never did anything in the NFL.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Number 12 is Michael Vick. I feel like that might have been more of a self-imposed downfall. And then,
but he came back.
Yeah, and then you got Kevin White at number 13. And number 14 is Johnny Manziel. How is Johnny Manziel 14th on this list?
Yeah.
But Henry Ruggs is 2?
That's
That's not a downfall.
That's not a downfall.
He committed essentially a vehicular, what? I don't know what he was.
Vehicular manslaughter, I think, is what he was charged with.
I was going to say, I didn't want to say something I was wrong there. Yeah, like, did something unbelievably irresponsible and dangerous that resulted in someone getting killed. Maybe not number 2 on the list.
Right.
Like, just, oh my God. Like, what was the criteria for that list? Like what happened?
Vibes, pretty much. Is what they just went in and just be like, who are people that I think about sometimes?
Yeah, this guy got hurt. This guy killed somebody. This guy retired early. This guy, we don't know who Darius Geis is. Plaxico shot himself accidentally.
Yeah.
Like all this, like what are we doing with Titus Young, bro? I still don't know who Titus Young is.
No, I don't know either.
Was he like a receiver for the Lions?
Was he like a highly touted like high school recruit?
Titus Young, like I have no idea. He was drafted in the 2nd round by the Lions.
He wasn't even a first rounder.
He just got suspended for undisclosed. I don't know what. He got his like behavioral issues. I don't know. He was arrested twice in the same day.
Oh, wow.
According to my company, Sports Illustrated, Young's family checked him into a psychiatric hospital. It sounds more like the poor guy needed some help.
Some help, yeah.
More than like, oh man, put him 9th on the downfall list. That poor guy. That guy's scrolling through Twitter. He's, hopefully God bless. Hopefully got peace in his life. Right. And he's like, hey, number 9. I'm like, what are we doing?
I'm reading his Wikipedia page because that's the first that's the first resource I go to.
Yeah.
Mental and brain health is a subhead. Due to his personality changes, Young admitted he hears voices telling him to commit crimes, and has been noted that he could have CTE due to multiple head traumas. He diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2013. The dude was just sick.
The guy was going through a lot of poor guy was going through issues. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
this list is like put him on there 9. It's great.
Fantasy in the URL should have been a dead giveaway that it wasn't going to be real based in football stuff.
Just anywho, all right. What? By the way, we have power rankings coming later. I know this show's been all over the place. Mostly just been thrashing bad takes.
Yeah, we could let's take a break, and on the other side, let's talk about some Chiefs running backs, because I think the running back situation the Chiefs are in right now, while they probably haven't figured out for this year, they don't have it figured out for next year. I'll explain that a little bit more, and we'll talk about maybe some draft picks that they can take at the running back position, some names to know coming up right after this. Chiefs.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Are you ready to win some real cash during the basketball playoffs? Well, check out Pick 6 from DraftKings. When it comes to basketball payouts, DraftKings Pick 6 posterizes the competition. And yeah, that includes prize picks. Hit all your picks and score higher minimum payouts on Pick 6. Plus, even more cash if you outscore the competition. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. New players get 50 in Pick 6 credits instantly on just a $5 entry. Here's what you got to do. Download DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
What the fuck was that? How long did that take you to edit?
It did not take me that long to edit. It took me almost 8 minutes to record. The hardest part was I got back in my chair back here and I could not see the script. So I was just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. I made it as big as I could on my computer. I could not really see it. And I went back and made sure that I hit every line in that ad read because, shocker, the sports gambling companies are pretty uptight on their disclaimers. Like,
Yeah.
the legalities of that thing, you got to kind of be pretty prim and proper on. So I went back and I listened. I didn't miss a line. So I was proud of that. But yeah, you know what? I wanted to mix it up a little bit with the ad reads. You know, sometimes I feel like they get boring. You don't want just a graphic on screen or just me sitting here staring at the computer. I thought I'd mix it up a little bit.
That's for anyone who's not watching and listening to this, you go back and watch Tucker's ad read. I never thought I said about any ad read.
Right?
That was
Right?
hilarious. That was one of the funniest. I was dying watching that during the break. It always reminds me of like the old school like infomercials when you probably won't remember this because you're 10 years younger than me, but back in the day when people used to still watch television, I'd be sitting there, I was like 15 watching ESPN Classic, like 15-year-olds do with a life. And you get like to like 1 o'clock in the morning and they just give up showing real commercials because nobody who's watching at 1 o'clock in the morning has any money to spend anything anyway.
Right,
and
fair enough.
it was like this guy in like a suit made out of question marks, and he'd just be randomly like all over the place, like in front of the Capitol building, like then in front of a restaurant. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
No, I don't.
No. Okay, and this guy, it was a ridiculous situation. Like, Matthew Lesko was his name.
Okay.
Yes, awesome. This dude was just randomly everywhere. Oh, you have free money, blah 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 blah, and it was like cut like that. So
yeah.
there you go. That's amazing. It also kind of reminded me of Billy Mays. You remember him?
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember Billy Mays.
Billy Mays here, and there'd be like a fucking like crater-sized hole in a rowboat. You're like, hey, you thought that rowboat was garbage, didn't you? Watch this. Boom! And just a little Flex Seal on that bad boy. We're good to go again. You'd be looking at it like, I don't know if it looks like it's gonna hold, Billy. But what are you kidding me? It's gonna hold. And yeah, and then he left us far too soon. But yeah,
he did.
That ad read reminded me of those people in my younger days of life.
Look, I gotta captivate the audience. That was really really my goal is to captivate the audience there. Phil Swift is the guy who does like the Flex Seal stuff now, and who's like kind of turned into the new Billy Mays. He's very funny. I do enjoy that. But yeah, I had a feeling that you were going to enjoy the ad break. I uploaded it specifically so we could have a reaction to it. Usually, a little peek behind the curtain here too. I don't usually play the full ad break. When Verderame and I record, I'll play like a little short one, and then I'll insert the long one. Pause. After we get done recording, then I was like, okay, we gotta watch the full ad break now. So Verderame got to see the magic that goes into the ad read process.
That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. I was dying.
Are you ready to talk about running backs?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's talk about running backs. This draft is known for its running back class, obviously. So I was thinking, I was sitting here pondering what the Chiefs should do at the running back position. And you might be saying, hey, Tucker, and look, they kind of figured it out. They signed a bunch of running backs this offseason. And while you are correct, they did sign Kareem Hunt, and they did sign Elijah Mitchell from the San Francisco 49ers. They already have Isaiah Pacheco on the roster. They already have Carson Steele on the roster. They've got 5 running backs with Mitchell, Hunt, Pacheco, Keontae Ingram as well, and Carson Steele. And when it comes to the draft, and a lot of times I think some people are, I don't want to say this for everybody, I think some people get a little short-sighted when it comes to the draft. Like, oh, we have a hole here this year, so we need to draft this right now. I think sometimes you need to look maybe a couple years in advance when it comes to the draft, because these guys are going to be on contracts for 4 years, Lord willing, that they'll be on a 4-year contract that is pretty darn affordable. So if you just skip ahead 1 year, I'm on the spot track page right now for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they organize like positional stuff. Maybe their numbers aren't as quite accurate as like over the cap, but I like the way that like it lays everything out for me. My brain is, I'm a simple creature. I like that the way that it looks, basically, is all I'm saying. But if you go to 2026, this team has 1 running back under contract for 2026, and that is Carson Steele. Notoriously has an alligator, and notoriously can't hang on to the football. So
he's not good.
They are going to find themselves at a crossroads here when it comes to selecting a running back, or if that would be signing Isaiah Pacheco long term, which it kind of seems like that's not trending that way.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
I want to talk about running backs, because this running back class has been touted as one of the best running back classes. Like, people are saying there might be 30 running backs taken in this draft. Like, there might be a lot of running backs selected. And I want to know, what do you think about where the Chiefs are at in running back right now? With, I already said, 5 guys on the roster this year, 1 guy on the roster next year. Do you think they spend kind of some higher capital, let's say a top 100 pick on a running back this year?
Yeah, I think there's a pretty good chance of spending a top 65 pick on a running back this year.
Ooh.
Oh, top 66.
There you go.
One of those first three. I feel like, so Matt Miller, who of course is a friend of KCSN and become a buddy, even after I gave him a lot of crap at the combine for leaving an Uber to drive 0.3 miles.
Yes, an Uber Premium. Uber Premium is what
he was a good sport. I was really giving it to him.
Yeah.
I was dying. You could see the damn place he was staying. I'm like, you're getting an Uber. You could see it. God,
true. I forgot about that. That is true.
Yeah, but I had him. I had him on the pod that I do, not the cross promote here, but he came on and we were talking about running backs with them, and his take was he's like I really like Quishon Junkins out of Ohio State. And
Fun back.
But his take was like, look, I don't know if either one of those Ohio State guys is going to be there when the Chiefs pick in the second round.
Right.
So would the Chiefs trade back from 31 to like 40 and get one of those guys? Or would they flat take one of them at 31? I tend to think it's a little rich to take him at 31. But if you trade back to like 40 and get other picks, then maybe it's worth it to you.
Yeah.
Or do you trade up from 63? Do you try to get up there if one of them sitting there still at 50? Do you make that move? So, and there are a ton of other guys, right? I mean, there's Neal from Kansas who might be like a day two guy, and there's Caleb Johnson from Iowa. He mentioned, oh God, I'm blanking on his name now. The kid out of Tennessee, Dylan Sampson.
Yep.
RJ Harvey is a guy who might be right in that 63, 66 range. There's a lot of backs. The question is, who do you like? How do they fit your roster? I would love to see the Chiefs get one of those Ohio State kids, but I don't know that they fit in where the Chiefs are picking unless the Chiefs get all creative.
So I'm looking at the KCSN draft guide here. I got it up here on my other computer. If you don't have it yet, link in the description to go order that if you don't have that. Great tool to have for draft day. They've got a lot of second round grades. They got 3 second round grades, 4 third round grades, which grading system is different. You can obviously find that out in the draft guide if you buy it. But they've got my guy stamps on both of the Ohio State guys. Between Kent loves Travion Henderson, Zach Eisen loves Quinshon Judkins. Like those two guys are the Ohio State running backs, that tandem that they had. And I do think both of them do have kind of a good fit. I think both of those running backs would fit really well in with the team. I do think another one that would be a really interesting one is DJ Giddens. You talked about Neal, but I think DJ Giddens is that type of guy who could add a lot of other running style to this offense, to this running back room in general. You talk about kind of building it a wide receiver room. You kind of want to build with a bunch of different types of guys. You have a bunch of different types of tools there, like building a toolbox. You kind of want the same thing with the running back room, right? You want guys that, this is your pounder, this is your speed guy, this is your pass catcher out of the back. It's going to be interesting to see how they do go with that way. But yeah, there's a ton of running backs in here. One of the guys that they're going to break him down on the KC Laboratory next Wednesday. I want to get everybody's kind of used to hearing the name, because I think there's a good shot that Damian Martinez out of Miami is a guy that, both Kent and Maddie do really like in terms of their evaluation of Damian Martinez from Miami. And I think Ollie Gordon's an interesting case as well, because Ollie Gordon was a guy that was like, oh yeah, this dude's a for sure first round pick, and then went back to school and there's like, okay, he might get drafted. But there's a ton of guys. I think even if you do miss out on the O'Mara Hampton is one running back that I do love the way he runs and everything like that. He probably won't be there. If he falls, I think I'll have a hard time if he's there and they take like a tackle. I'll be like, oh, that kind of hurts. Like when they took what was it, Felix? They took Felix and there was a tight end on the board. Was that Sam Laporta? Was Sam Laporta on the board when they took Felix? I
think he was, yes.
And I was a little bummed about that because I was like, oh, Sam Laporta would be fun to put with Travis Kelce. And that's too bad. I would kind of have a similar feeling if that was kind of the board there. But I'm with you. I do think the Ohio State guys are the two that you kind of like circle and either one really I think fits the Chiefs offense, and that's fun. But I do think the Chiefs need to maybe even address it. You don't really see this a lot, but like in the later rounds, grab another running back because again, like you're gonna want younger talent at that position, and I don't know what that would mean for like training camp because you're not really going to keep 5 running backs on your roster. The Chiefs would let's see, would the Chiefs keep 4 when they had would they go 3 running backs and Sherman when they did it, or would they go 4 running backs and a fullback?
Yeah, they usually have 3 running backs and a
Okay.
fullback.
So you don't really see more than 4 running backs on
No,
a final roster.
no.
So like that'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. But I do think that like this is the running back that Chiefs needing a running back. This is the draft that they should probably take full advantage of all the guys available.
I think for the Chiefs, they should have a list of about a dozen running backs sprinkled throughout the first 4 rounds and have an acceptable range for where they would take those guys in. And then look, obviously you rank them based on how much you like the guys. I mean, you're not going to like the number 1 guy as much as you're not going to like the number 12 guys as much as you like the number 1 guy. But like, point being, where would you, if you got to a spot where you felt like you might be able to move up, move down, draft guys, stay where you are, where are you willing to take the player? Like, for an example, if Travion Henderson, if they're like, all right, look, we would not take him any higher than 36. We wouldn't, but like, if we got to 36 and beyond, at that point, we'd be willing to take him. Then it becomes a question of, all right, well, how far you want to move up? Or you want to move back from 31 to get him, right? Like, that's the math equation here. So at some point, you're going to have an intersection of, hey, we're willing to take RJ Harvey at 66. And he's there when you're at 66. Take him.
Yeah.
Like that's it. So, by the way, just saw a take by a guy I actually like and respect, Kevin Clark, who says that Cam Ward is the closest thing to Patrick Mahomes since Patrick Mahomes.
I did see that, man.
I like Kevin, so I'm not going to just full on attack him for this. But I know he's a Miami guy. But wow, okay, that's bold.
It's a take for sure.
It's a take. I'm going to leave it be because he does have enough equity that I'm just going to leave the man alone. But I got to tell you, that's strong. Okay. I think if you're the Chiefs, you've got to come away with a running back these first 3 picks. You're not going to lean long term on Pacheco. He's too beat up physically. Hunt is 30 years old. Elijah Mitchell might stub a toe and be out for 5 years. Like
that's true.
If you're the Chiefs, like you've got to get somebody in there who you're like, look, the guy's explosive and he's cheap for the next 4 years.
It's a volatile position, and like
yes.
One of the stats that I try to keep up with is like how many games starting running backs miss every year for a team. And it gets close to 3. About 3 games is what your starting running back is going to miss. Just because it's a position of attrition and you got to have guys you trust there and you got to have bodies there. It's going to be a position that I think they're going to have to address. I know some Chiefs fans are scared because they drafted a pick at running back at 31 last time around. They had pick 31 after losing a Super Bowl, and it didn't end up too good, right? Like I understand why people. I guess he was 32, right? Wasn't he? Wasn't Clyde 32?
Yes,
he was.
Yeah,
Clyde was 32. I started doing the math in my head as I was talking. I was like, that's wrong. Live fact checked myself with my brain. That's good. But I do think the running back room is going to be one of those to watch. So let's talk about those first 3 picks, Matt. Position wise, not necessarily asking you where they're going to go in each of the spot, but we've already nailed down running back. They probably need to spin in the first 3. Let's say first 4 picks, right? What are some other positions that they should be looking at? They should be leaning on. I know heavy defensive tackle class. They need one of those. So I assume defensive tackle is going to go there. 2 other positions you think the Chiefs should look at in their first 4 picks?
I think, look, D tackle and running back are their biggest needs in that order. I quietly think they need another receiver because
fair. Yeah.
Look at the roster. Rice is coming off of blowing his knee out, and God knows if he's playing a full season. Okay, forget the injury. Who the hell knows if he's playing a full season? Xavier Worthy, it looks like, will be there for the season after all that went on. But, those are the only two guys that are signed past 2025 for the Chiefs at receiver. Am I going to sit there and be thrilled? Like Hollywood Brown, Juju, 1-year deals, man. 1-year deals. Sky Moore. You need another receiver. You need another guy. Like, I would draft another receiver. I would do it. I think, I'll tell you right now, this is another thing Matt Miller and I actually spoke about, was Luther Burden at 31. If he's sitting there, like, not to give away Matt, but like Matt was, he's his guy. Luther Burden is his guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with him. I've been talking about Luther Burden for months. Like, I got to tell you, man, if he's at 31, I would have a strong conversation about that.
Yeah.
Because you need another receiver. You need another running back. Like, we could even have a really pretty legitimate conversation about, at some point, and I don't think they're going to do it in the first round. What about a tackle? Like,
yeah.
If Jalen Moore is not good, you might have two new tackles in 2026 on the left and the right hand side because Juwan Taylor's getting cut out this year.
Yeah.
You edge rush quietly, like FAU. Next year might be it. Who knows?
Big year for him next year. Let's just say a huge year for FAU next year.
Huge year. Omena, who's a free agent. Karlaftis is about to get super expensive if they want to keep him. Like,
yeah.
Dana very well might be cut after this year. They've got to replenish some places. So I think edge, receiver, and those other two spots are the things. And I'll say this real quick. Corner is another spot that I don't think is pressing, but if there's a corner that you really like, I'm always pro taking a corner. You just can't have enough of them.
Yeah. I think in the Brett Veach era that the Chiefs have taken more corners than any other position. Which makes sense. You're just going to take a lot of shots at that position, and they've had the ability to develop these corners at a pretty high clip and high pace. So, like, you'll take those high percentage shots.
Yes.
When it comes down to it, I do think it's interesting. That's just something you can find in the KCSN draft guide. I don't want to give away their whole bake and go get that. Obviously, the Kent does a really good write up about just trends in the Brett Veach era. I read this earlier today and was very interested by just, trades, like where Brett Veach just spent the most capital in terms of draft capital and position wise, and which position he's picked the most. And like, there's a lot of interesting numbers and information here. But when it comes to, like, they've spent a lot of stuff, a lot of capital on defensive end, but you talk about offensive tackle. And I think this is really interesting. The highest offensive tackle that the Chiefs have picked in the Brett Veach era is Kingsley Suamataia at pick 62. That's the highest they've ever taken a tackle in the Brett Veach era. Yeah. And I found that to be really interesting that they haven't taken a first round tackle. Now, obviously, they did use a first round pick to get a tackle in terms of Orlando Brown Jr. In that trade that they sent over. But it's going to be something interesting to watch. I do think tackle is an interesting one. A lot of people in our comment section, we were kind of talking about, like, hey, Josh Simmons, like, why do people keep mocking him there? You and I don't really understand, like, the thought process of using a first-round pick and then not playing him like you did kind of with Felix, right? Like, I don't really understand that thought process, doing that again. A lot of people are like, hey, like, what happens if, God forbid, Jalen Moore gets hurt? And then you got to throw Wanya in there again. Like, I understand that. You do want another bit of some bodies back there is kind of the thought process there. Sure, I don't think you spend a first round pick. I do think maybe a top 100 pick on a tackle wouldn't be awful. But again, this tackle class is not knock your socks off with a bunch of good tackles. And even like in the top 100, when you start to get outside of that first round, those tackles that might go in the first round, it gets a little shaky. It really does.
This tackle class is not good.
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of people. And I have yet to get one person to say to me, on or off the record, yes, good class, like it. Like, it's anywhere between, there's no way I'm taking one of these guys, to it's run of the mill. Yeah. So I do not. That's why all these people who are picking the Chiefs to take a tackle in the first round, listen, I've learned in life, never say never. I'd be really surprised. They take a tackle 31.
Well, we only got a couple weeks to find out. That's good.
Not even.
Because not even. No, that's true. I guess that's true. We'll see very shortly.
They should take a kicker. Should really rile people up.
Should. They really should. Brevich has not spent any capital on specialist.
No,
Does he have something against specialists?
Yeah, right. Is he anti-specialist?
Anti-specialist, Brevich?
Seen enough.
Yeah.
I'll have to reach out to Chiefs PR and ask.
Start asking the questions.
Somehow it won't be the dumbest thing said about the Chiefs today. All right.
That's true. Let's get into power rankings. Before we do, I got to remind you guys about the registration is open for the Hope Faith 2025 Disc Golf Tournament. That'll take place on June 14th, 2025. You can sign up your team of four using team of four for $100. All proceeds benefit the Hope Faith programs and services. Included in your registration, you get lunch, refreshments, a disc, and a morning of friendly competition, raffles, and prizes. You can sign up now using the link in the description. Hope Faith Home Assistant Campus is KCSN's Foundation's Feed It Forward partner, so go check them out. That link is in the description to go sign up for their disc golf tournament. All right, Matt, let's get into power rankings. We are power ranking things you see in a bar today, starting at 5, going to 1. I guess I'll go first because this is my idea. We kind of workshopped it together, but an idea that I brought to the table started with things in a bar, and then it evolved to things you see in a bar. Number 5, I'm going to go with old beer signs. I'm a big fan of like the vintage type beer signs, but vintage just being early 2000s. I think the early 2000s in terms of beer paraphernalia and beer marketing materials was the best. And I don't know why, but like seeing just the overproduced arts for the beers and the logos. Now I think a lot of beer logos are like simplified, right? They've kind of gone more towards like the simplified route, but then you had just overstated logos with overstated marketing. It's kind of perfect. I love seeing old beer signs in a bar.
Okay. I will go with just, I'm going to keep it simple at 5. Beer.
Okay.
Beer.
Yeah.
Just in general. You walk in, you see somebody serving a cold one, you're like, all right, gonna be a good night. Yeah, I guess I could just say all alcohol. I'll skip liquor. I'll just say beer. Just you walk in, you see somebody pouring a beer out of a tap. All right, it's good. It was a good time. Give me a Blue Moon. Give me an orange. We're good to go.
It's a good one. Yeah, gotta be able to see. Gotta be able to see what you're drinking. Yeah, so that's a good point. Number 4, I love to see a guy striking out. He's not letting the fear of striking out, letting him keeping him from playing the game. I always do love the face of the rejection on a guy. When you're sitting in the back of the bar with your buddies and you're kind of like, you're people watching. You're like,
you watch some asshole go up to a girl. You're like, it's over.
He's like, yeah, you could just tell by the look on their face it's over. That's always a good sight to see. And sometimes, you're kind of cheering against him. You're looking at this guy like, oh, this guy's a certified douche right here. There's no way that he should be pulling anything, and he doesn't. And it's always good to see. So a guy striking out number 4 for me.
All right. Tables that are bolted down to the floor.
Oh yeah.
Some bad shit's happening in that place. When you walk in and the table is just bolted to the ground, you're like, all right, there's a good chance we witness a ritualistic killing tonight, fellas. Anytime furniture is bolted down, I'm involved.
That's a good call. That is a really good call. Number 3, I got the popcorn machine, the complimentary popcorn machine. Yeah, you see that in the back of the bar. You're like, all right, I know what I'm having for dinner tonight. And you just kind of go to town on the popcorn machine. They got to say, hey, you got to get away. You go talk to people and get away from the popcorn machine. Stop eating all the popcorn. And not that this happened to me before, but I know a popcorn machine hate to see me coming because I love to see it there in the back of the bar. Number 3 for you, Matt.
Number 3 is this is more of a neighborhood bar thing. I grew up in neighborhood bars. When you walk in and you see somebody who clearly it's been time to leave for like 10 years.
Yeah.
So I guess I'd say the overstaying regular, where you're just like, hey man, listen, I like a Corona as much as you do. You got a wife and 3 kids, and you're here more than me, and I'm 23. Like, maybe at some point, Get a 6-pack at like the mobile and just take it home with you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not telling you not to drink it. Just do it at home. You could be around. Maybe help out with some math homework for your 7-year-old. Like, so this is the overstaying is welcome regular.
Probably cheaper too to do that.
Oh, much cheaper.
Yeah. Number 2 for me, I put no one. I love a good empty bar when it's just you and the bartender, and you just can kind of watch what you want to watch on the TV, hang out with who you want to hang out with, and there's nobody else in the bar. I got no one at number 2.
Number 2 for me, and this is going to be controversial. You don't love this, you hate this, but I love to watch people and just get a good laugh.
Fair.
Bachelorette party.
Oh,
Dude, I was at a bar one time with my wife up in Door County, Wisconsin. Bachelorette party. They were cool. It was probably like a half dozen girls. They were having a good time. But they're like around our age because it was probably, we were like in our late 20s. So it's probably right around that.
yeah.
And they had to do stuff like they were picking, it wasn't out of a hat, but it was like little like cards out of a hat, essentially. Like, oh, you have to do this at the bar. You have to add a bar.
Yeah.
So one of the girls like sheepishly came up to my wife and I and was like, listen, this is really awkward, but we're doing a bachelorette game and I got that I have to give a lap dance to somebody. And is it cool if I do it to your husband for like a minute? And like my wife just busted out laughing. She was like, oh yeah, go ahead. And, and I'm sitting there and like this poor girl, she's so awkward about it. I'm like, look,
Right.
don't worry about it. It's cool. I'm not going to be creepy about it. Let's get this done. And like I made it I tried to be like part of the joke. We had a good time. And then about a half hour later, the bride-to-be fell face first right into the ground because she was overserved. But yeah, it's all fun and games. And if you're not involved, like if you want to leave, you can leave.
Right.
So it's hilarious.
We have very stark contrasting number 2s. I have no one. You have basically everyone.
Yes,
is basically how our number 2s go. I do enjoy a good bachelorette party. Just kind of people watching. People watching is fun. Yeah. Number 1, I got Urban Meyer.
just Urban Meyer.
Yeah, he's probably in a bar somewhere. Doing what Urban Meyer does.
For a lot of reasons, I hope not. That's awesome. Number 1 for me is straight up, again, maybe controversial, just a good old-fashioned drunk fight.
Oh, yeah.
Just 2 idiots blowing a .22, just taking swings at each other for no other reason than somebody gave somebody a look, and they're not going to have it, and a full-on brawl breaks out. But it's an uncoordinated brawl. So it's a whole lot of swinging and missing. Yeah,
it's just limbs.
Yeah, whole lot of like hitting somebody's shoulder with their wrist. It's just, and like no one's gonna get hurt because they're so hammered. Like they're not gonna connect.
Yeah.
But every once in every 1 out of 10 fights, somebody throws an absolute wild haymaker and does connect, and everybody in the bar like, oh. Then they just fold the guy up like a cheap suit in the rain. He does one of those where like every body part folds a different way, like it's origami. They tear every CL in their knee. It's like, but they're so drunk, they're so flexible that like they just kind of like melt into a human drunk puddle. That's number 1 for me.
That's a good drunk fight goes a long way. It really can hold you over. For a lot of things. I look, last week I believe we did the worst Chiefs losses, right? Most painful Chiefs losses. That one was tweeted out by the KCSN account. We got the big call. This one probably won't be. This one will probably be coming out of my personal account. I don't know if KCSN account wants to be associated with things you see in a bar.
They employ us. That's their problem.
That is very true. And having Urban Meyer be one of them. That probably
that may not be.
Yeah. Tough look. But anyway, Matt, I think that'll do it for this week's edition, the second episode, the Saturday edition of that football show.
It's probably good because I got to go pick my daughter up in 3 minutes, and it's about a 5-minute drive.
All right. We'll see you. That's going to do it. So Matt can be a good parent. Thanks, Holiday Distillery. We'll see you guys later.